Thank you, band, and especially Nicole for sharing that lyric with us, because in a simple, beautiful way, it gets to the heart of the message of peace. It is one thing to wish for peace in our own lives, in our own circumstances, in our own busyness, however we find ourselves. But to truly understand peace, we have to desire it for everyone. We often speak in unity. Our windows even say it above the entrance. We behold the Christ in you. And we often say that, and Dr. Rudolf Steiner told his students to be very careful that they did not build that truth, that recognition, up in an egotistical way. That is to say, that we don't build this idea of the Holy Child or the Christ within. Sharon, it's mine. It's mine, Gerald. It's mine. But to be able to realize that holy presence within us is true of everyone. And because it is a universal spiritual presence, it is not the property of what we call the Christian church. It's a universal truth for all of humanity. Again, Dr. Steiner said, there are many people in the world who are getting a true grasp of the Christ as this inner manifestation of God. And they understand it in a way that even though by tradition they are not Christians, they understand the idea of Christ. So it's very important that we be aware of this spiritual truth, this inner Christ, in a way that we hold it for ourselves, but we hold it for all others. And we realize that that divine presence is working through us all, regardless of our spiritual path or tradition. It is living through all of humanity. This season of Advent, or the adventure into the Christmas mystery, imagines a rhythm of our souls, a rhythm that seeks, that rests, that loves, that gives. We characterize this soul sequence by the ideas of hope, peace, love, joy. It is a preparatory spiritual practice that we might come to realize the divine idea of God, individualized as Christ, within us and within all. Advent is from the Latin word adventus, meaning coming or arrival, which is a translation of an older Greek word, parousia, a term which generally refers to the second coming of Christ. And although some place that second coming of Christ in the far distant future, many of the people in the first century realized the second coming of Christ was when you realized Christ's presence in your own soul. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, saw it that way, that the second coming of Christ is not in the distant future. It is in your own realization that God is with you, that Christ is within you. So not only is Advent a time for anticipation, as we approach the season we historically celebrate the birth of the Jesus child, the so-called first coming, Advent is also a time of anticipation of this second coming, of this realization within your own soul that Spirit is present, that you are a child of God. A phrase I've often mentioned, but that's because I like it, comes from the minister of the largest congregation in this country, that of the Lakewood Church in Houston. And Joel Osteen said, it's much more important that you know not just who you are, but whose you are. We live in a world, don't we, where we emphasize who we are, our education, our career, our status, our family, all these many things. But it's of greater significance, and we recognize it in the Christmas mystery, to know whose we are, that we have come forth from the source, however we name it, God, infinite mind. Many centuries ago, the Rosicrucians had a phrase in Latin that they taught as the great mystery, ex Deo nascimur. I don't know why I'm getting so much Latin today. I've got to practice. Ex Deo nascimur. That means the individual realizes that they were born of God, brought forth by the infinite Spirit, ex Deo nascimur. So the scriptures tell us, and it is included both in the Hebrew scriptures from the prophet Isaiah and then later quoted in Matthew's gospel in the account of the nativity story. And that is the phrase, listen, be ready. This is a surprise. A young woman shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God with us. And there is Christmas in a nutshell. If we were to strip away all of the decorations, silence the beautiful holiday music, shut down all of the activities that we love to do with family and friends, perhaps even Christmas office parties, if we just got rid of all of that, what would Christmas be to you? What would be left? What would be the essential idea that filled your heart with hope, with faith, with peace, with love? It would be the realization of whose you are, that the infinite has come and incarnated in humanity. That's a tremendous mystery, and it has puzzled people for thousands of years. What if the creator of everything we know, everything we can see, and so much that we don't yet know, what if that creator loved his creation so much that it became a part of us? Hold that thought, that God so loved all of creation that he made himself a part of creation. This is the mystery of the incarnation, of the Word, the Logos. The activity of God is within us and among us throughout all of creation. I invite you to set aside some time, perhaps many times, in these weeks leading up to Christmas, to just hold that idea. Do I fully understand my place in this world? I'm just James walking around doing whatever James does. Or do I truly get it? That the Spirit behind is with me, is with you. What is it to truly know that ultimate Christmas gift? To know it, to realize it, to make it a part of your consciousness, a part of your feeling life, even as one of my friends used to like to say, even to feel it in your very bones. All of you. I think one friend this morning that came in and reminded me, I don't know exactly why, but of the symbol in the tarot card deck, which is a spiritual teaching in itself. But one of the designs of the card deck we can call the Hierophant, the Wise One, even the Christ, if you will. And its gesture on the front of that card is this. What does one feel in that gesture? It is to know oneself to one's fullest, grasping this way, grasping down, or even horizontally, a gesture that says, do I really realize all that I am in truth as God's creation? Am I stretching myself to be all that I am in truth? And do I know that that is true for every living soul? To grasp this Christmas, in a depth perhaps that you have never known in your many, many, many Christmases, to catch it new and fresh this year. If you know this truth of yourself or someone perhaps you're concerned about, you realize that in our essence, in our spiritual DNA, in our God-given GPS, we can use all these different metaphors, that we can handle anything that comes to us in life because we know whose we are. We know what we have come forth from, the Spirit of all. We know that our master teacher, that we revere in the being of Jesus Christ, is a truth within us as well. When I get a glimpse of that, because I have not yet matured to the point to where I can hold that truth consistently, always, and in all ways of my life, I struggle. But in the moments that I grasp that truth, there's no obstacle. There's no problematic personality in my life. There's no mystery, no challenge that I can't figure out because of Emmanuel, God with me, God with us. Just imagine with me that on Christmas Eve or perhaps Christmas morning is your favorite time of the celebration. That you were to open a gift and inside there was something radiant, something dynamic. And it took possession of you. That knowledge of how powerful you are. Many of you are old enough, like me, to have remembered years ago the book, The Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And in it was a line that intrigued me. I've thought of it countless times through the years. And she said, for humanity, it's not that we fear how little we are. It's that we fear how great we are as God's creation. We're hesitant to grab on to that reality, that knowledge that we are children of God. It's much easier to go about our daily business, to go about our week, our Christmas rituals, our shopping or whatever, and just be me. James, doing things that he does, his holiday traditions. But it takes a courageous heart and a mind of clarity to be able to realize who we truly are. And that is to understand the Christmas mystery. Oh, it's been shaped over the centuries by so many different symbols and ideas and things, from the Christmas tree to the fact that in the Catholic tradition, December 24th, Christmas Eve, what feast day or what is that day dedicated to? Adam and Eve. Well, why would that be? Before the birth of the Christ on the 25th, according to the church, they celebrated an Adam and Eve. It's because the mystery of Christmas was to look back at those symbolic first human beings, the original creation of God in the story of Adam and Eve, and to remember our original goodness and purity, our original state of living in paradise or the Garden of Eden, before the story went on and got complicated. To just grasp that original goodness. Early in Unity, there were many ministers that liked to point out, because a lot of their listeners, like me, were raised in a church that emphasized original sin. And then it must be overcome by the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross. Well, that's a whole other story. Some of us needed to be reminded of that creation story, and not our original sin, but our original goodness as God's creation. My hope for you this year, this Christmas, is that you will grasp in a new and more powerful way than ever before the truth of your being. That you are God's gift to this world. Now, are any of you like me when someone comes up and compliments the way you look or what you've said or the warmth of your personality? Oh, I'm just me. This old thing? And discounting someone that has tried to acknowledge the essential truth that you are God's good creation. Can you imagine with me what it would be like to live on a daily basis with that foundation that didn't crack, didn't sink, didn't fall? It was always under you. That truth, the power within you, that could carry you through so many things that you struggle with in life. That could take you through grief and pain in your life. I recently heard a powerful podcast that Anderson Cooper has been doing with interviews with Ken Burns. Now, I've heard that man at Chautauqua in person. He can talk of any subject right off the cuff. And it's so impressive. But he talked about the struggle of grief in his life and losing loved ones. And he said at least he found, keep it at a distance, don't really feel it, don't get into that. But later in his life, he's about my age, later in his life he began to accept the gift of grief. The gift of knowing that we all go through this process of life. And then as he said, none of us will get out of this world alive. We will all go through that transition of death. And what a difference it is to realize when someone has passed on or when you're facing your own end, that you can be at peace, knowing that the power that brought you into this world sustains you and will always be with you, always carry forward. And for those loved ones, even strangers that have passed, you can still be with them in consciousness as you celebrate their ongoing in the spiritual realm. We claim that life is eternal. Do we really believe that? When a body is laid down, does that soul go on? Like the words of David in the 23rd Psalm, that I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Christmas is a time of many mysteries, but I hope this year you open a gift that's given only for you to realize the power, the truth, the beauty, the wisdom, the love through which you were brought into this world and which you are capable of bringing to others. A quotation I found, I liked, I put it on the back of your bulletin, from the incredible human being Elie Wiesel. I've heard him speak, and of course, he gave his life to seeking justice at the end of World War II for his people, the Jewish people. And he simply said, peace, peace is the gift we give to each other. And you can only give what you know. So I'm inviting you this year, this Christmas, give a little less attention to what you get at Costco, at Mall of America, online, to give to one another. And communicate to someone you love your inner peace. As we like to say in unity, or I should say we like to sing, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let me give this troubled world this Christmas the peace that I have found within. And that is the peace of knowing the source from which I have come. And so it is. And I invite us for a moment just to turn our attention within. Isn't it an amazing gift that we can turn from the outer activity, the busyness of being in this world, and we can turn within to that holy manger within our heart, that inner realization of the Holy Child, the divine idea, the truth that is coming forth from within. So in this moment of silence, rather than guiding you through images, I just invite you to make your own pledge for this Christmas, saying in your own words something to this effect: I am willing to give my greatest gift, my attention, to that truth, that life, that presence within me. I will give it thought, feelings of reverence, and give my attention to that continual birthing of the Holy Child, of the ultimate truth in my life. And I will commit to holding that truth not simply for myself, but for all of God's creation. The entire human family that God loves. As I do many things and shop for many things this season, I pledge not to neglect meditating, feasting, focusing on the truth of whose I am, who we all are as God's goodness in this world. Now I invite you to gently allow your attention to return to this sanctuary where you're seated among friends who have faith in you, who love you, who stand by your side. Wow. World of wonders. I am just beginning to understand your reality. And so it is.